All right, get this. You're going to love this story. Kate is friends with two people who are friends with each other. They're all friends with each other. One person won't interact with the other person because they are not vaccinating their child. So Kate's one friend is deciding to do, I think, delayed vaccinations and only some of them. And the other person is in full support of complete vaccination schedule, right? So this person B won't interact with the other person because they won't even let their kids interact with one another. And it got me thinking, this whole thing going on here in California with SB, I think it's 277, where we must now vaccinate our children. Now there's still opportunity for this to be reversed through a series of different avenues, but we are now forced to vaccinate our children if we want to send them to school. And Kate and I got onto this conversation a while back that I think is really interesting, but it caused me to really step, and I've written a couple articles about schooling, unschooling. We did a show with Dayna Martin, episode 85, which I'll put in the links below. Schooling is such a fascinating subject, and if you really want to get into, let me bring up an article that I have that I wrote about reasons not to send your child to school. And there's an interesting quote by Rockefeller who said, "It would have been impossible for us to develop our plan for the world if we had been subjected to the lights of publicity during those years. But the world is now more sophisticated and prepared to march toward a world government. Supernatural sovereignty of an intellectual elite and world bankers is surely preferable to the national autodetermination practice in past centuries. This present window of opportunity during which a truly peaceful and interdependent world might be built will not be open for too long. We are on the verge of global transformation. All we need is the right major crisis, and the nations will accept the new world order." How do they come together and develop, how do they put together curriculums that will socially create the kind of population that they want to create? They do it through the school systems. Look into the work of John Taylor Gatto. The work of John Taylor Gatto, he's got a ton of stuff on YouTube. He's written a bunch of books. A great New York educator and proponent of the school system for many years until he woke up and started realizing what was going on. John Taylor Gatto, Howard Zinn's A People's History of the United States. It would be a great book. Lies My Teacher Told Me by, I think it's James Lowen. I'll put a link to all these books down below. Why would we send our kid to school? Because, especially during the formative years when their minds and their psyches are being developed, we send them to school, and in order to do so, we have to vaccinate them, right? So we may or may not agree with the vaccines, right? So let's say you're someone like us who've done a lot of research and you don't agree with the vaccines. If you do agree with vaccines, that's fine, no big deal. But just for my sake and my side of the argument, you don't agree with the vaccinations, right? The chemicals and the adjuvants and the heavy metals that are being injected. And God knows who else, right, is injecting or inputting and creating these ingredients, right? They put an ingredient list together, but we don't really know what they're putting into these vaccines, right? I mean, if a stranger came up to you off the street, let's say a bum came up to you off the street and had a glass of liquid, half drunk, and offered it to you to drink, would you drink it? None of us would drink that. And so, but yet we have direct physical interaction with the bum. He's right in front of us. We can ask him, we can talk to him, we can find out who he is, what it is, all this stuff, right? But yet we will inject our kids with chemicals and God knows what else that are in these things. And we are what, 6, 7 layers removed from the actual people who are formulating the vaccinations. So be that as it may, we got to vaccinate now, at least in California, to send our kids to school. So to send our kids to school where they're going to learn all kinds of information that is disempowering, that's going to suck out any passion and creativity they have for learning. We're going to create a curriculum where they're going to learn what we want them to learn, which is whatever it is the government wants us to learn because they put together the curriculums. And so in order to get that low-level crap that they're going to teach us, we got to vaccinate our kids. And then on top of that, there's school lunches, right? We got to, our kids are going to be eating this crap food that's filled with MSG and mind-altering substances that are going to be affecting their neural pathways and their growing biology and their cells and and their immune system. We're going to be feeding them this crap food from sick animals and all this stuff. And so on top of that, we're going to be feeding them sugar, and then we're going to allow them to interact with other children who are incredibly damaged, maybe from a home life that's traumatic, or maybe they've been abused, or maybe they're not a good influence to our kids. And so we're going to subject them to all this stuff for what? For this idea that we have, that we think that education is somehow the holy grail of making a life better on this planet. It's never ceased to amaze me how parents think that education is the number one thing. And what people don't realize is that you can get an education that doesn't come from school. Everything that I've learned and everything that I'm passionate about and everything that I desire to learn more about has not been from school. School taught me a couple things. It taught me a couple things that helped me with my everyday life. Typing was a good skill. A lot of people took shop so they can work on cars. A lot of people, grammar's good, basic math skills, these types of things. But beyond that, it's basically, school seems to be, to me at least, basically like a babysitter until you're 18, until you graduate. And I think it's incredibly strange that we would send our children to school to learn all of this weird, kooky, outdated information that's not even relevant to their lives. And in order to get that, we got to vaccinate them first. And so even if you don't care about vaccinations, you go through that step, and then you get to learn all this weird stuff that doesn't even affect our life. And the biggest thing for me about school is that it robbed my natural creative desire to be passionate about certain things and to be able to go down roads of curiosity that I would have liked to have gone down, but I was too busy with the amount of schoolwork that I had. Right? So I had a test coming up. I had to do certain things in order to get a good grade so I can get some sort of mark. And so I could get that A or that B so that I can pass. I mean, the whole thing is crazy. It's outdated. When you have the ability to learn online, we have the internet now. Why are we still sending our kids to school? Everything is available for us. I mean, I don't understand why people think school is so important. Now, if you want to go and be a doctor, a medical doctor, I mean, college is a whole separate issue because at that point, it's more voluntary. You can choose. I would highly recommend a documentary called College Conspiracy that gets into the finances, not just the finances, but the indoctrination and the propaganda that goes into teaching us how important this whole idea of college is. But if you're going there for a specific purpose, like you want to be a medical doctor or you want to be XYZ that requires a very structured, focused level of learning that's very marginalized so that you can do this one career, that's one thing. But if you're going to college to simply, get a communications degree, you could learn communications on your own. You could learn how to do public speaking on the internet. You could learn every skill you need to learn in today's world. You can learn from websites like Udemy. There's other websites where you can go and take courses on things. You don't need to go to college. You don't need to go to these, to these schools. Now, if the child wants to go to school, that's a whole different thing. If you want to let them go to school, maybe you let them go to school because they want to do it. But, acting as if school is somehow the holy grail of learning in today's culture is we are beyond that. And aside from the schooling thing that College Conspiracy talks about is the amount of debt that typically goes on with people that are going to school. The average tuition is around $24,000 a year. It's probably more than that now if you do an average of the whole country and all the best colleges. And it typically takes about 5 years now to finish your degree. So if you're taking 5 years now, you're $120 in with no ability and no job and no chance of ever paying that back. If you combine on top of that credit card debt, if you combine on top of that tax debt, if you combine on top of that all kinds of other life issues and things that you have to pay for, and so you got an extra 120 grand sitting there that needs to be paid back with incredible high interest rates for what? So that you could learn a bunch of crap that It's not going to help you in your life so that you can get a job, so you can be an economic wage slave and pay that back. I mean, that's what they want. Because if they can get you in that cycle, that spinning cycle, that downward spiral, if they can get you hooked at the very top and you start spinning and your perspective starts changing and you don't really see that you're spinning until you get really going fast, and then you're down below, and then you're, $500,000 in debt, you hate your job, you're in a bad marriage, all these things. It's all because we didn't have the foresight to think for ourselves, because we've been so indoctrinated in this culture to think certain things are true. Question things, people, please. I feel like people really need to start questioning things and really look into whether or not college is something that they want to do and it's going to help benefit them. If you're going there with a specific focus and you know exactly what you want to do, then go for it. But, going there just to waste some time for 4 years, it would be better for you to get and gain work experience than go to college. In my opinion, I would rather, I am so glad that I did not finish college, because, it would have robbed me. I am so passionate and so curious about how the world works. I'm always learning stuff. If I had went to college, who knows if that would have been beaten out of me? Who knows if I would have been so focused and depressed and stressed and anxiety filled with trying to get good grades, which mean absolutely nothing. Maybe I never would have had this pursuit of knowledge and desire. I'm always looking for the next thing to learn, for the next idea to explore, for the next physical journey to go on, the next spiritual journey to go on. And had I gone to college, I don't think that I would have been like that. And I don't think there's any specific skill that would have taught me whatever it is that I need to learn for this particular career path, Extreme Health Radio, and further things that we're going to be doing, opening up our shows to bigger ideas. College would not have taught me any of that. All this stuff, I've learned how to do sound, I've learned computer skills, I've learned graphics, I've learned marketing, I've learned communication skills, I've learned programming. All these skills, people skills, time management, all this stuff I learned on my own, because school's not going to teach you how to do this stuff. It's not going to teach you how to manage your money. It's not going to teach you how money is fake and it's all a fictitious idea. It's not going to teach you about the DTC account and the DTCC, which are the two biggest corporations in the world today that you've never heard of. It's not going to teach you how to balance your money. It's not going to teach you how to create money out of thin air by your signature. It's not going to teach you all of these things, because its purpose is to keep you ingrained in this marginalized worldview where only this is possible, when in reality all of this is possible. And so college is outdated. It's going away. Media is going away. College is going away. And I think people are going to be I think the world's going to be very different in 100 years from now. And my hope is that we become less indoctrinated and less fearful. And my hope is that we extract ourselves from the matrix that is our current experience in this reality. Because if we can do that, then we can start really going for things that are suppressed in today's culture. Free energy, looking within, psychedelics, human potential, robotics, all these things, incredible human lifespans, the ability to do things that we've never even dreamed possible. And if we can get out of the matrix and the marginalized worldview that college and school gives us, then we can start expanding our minds, and we can start looking and going within and seeing what's possible. So I just don't think, for me, college does not facilitate that type of mindset. It doesn't facilitate that type of journey. It's not willing to ask those questions. Teachers are there at college to gain tenure, to gain a nice, comfortable career, to be very safe and to be very conservative and get their little 3-month vacation during the summertime. It's not what you think it is. It's not. So think about going to college. Think about sending your child to school. If these are things that you like and you think are good, then by all means go for it. So in any event, if you guys are interested in this type of information, alternative information on our radio show, Extreme Health Radio, we talk about natural cures for things, alternative healing, different ways of looking at the world, personal development, spiritual development, all kinds of self-empowerment things on Extreme Health Radio. And in the future, we're going to be actually expanding the show to do much more than just the health piece, because the health piece is just a really small sliver of where we're going and what I'm interested in. So If you're interested in all of that, you can sign up to our newsletter by texting the word Get Healthy to 33444. You've done it. Thousands of people have done it. It's a great newsletter, and we send it out twice a week. Mondays and Fridays right now. Sometimes that may change, and you'll stay up to date with all of our free content, all of our shows, upcoming summits that we tell you about that are also all free that you can watch and listen to at your leisure. And you get to stay up to date with all the stuff that we're doing, and we appreciate you guys so much. And if you guys want to follow us on Facebook, you can do that. Twitter, we're on YouTube. If you want to subscribe, and click the subscribe button below. YouTube seems to be a place where we're doing a lot more stuff these days, so you can follow us on there. All kinds of cool stuff. So if you like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe, comment below. I'm curious what you think about school, about what you think about college, if you think it's a joke, if you think it's necessary. Comment below. We'd love to interact with you and hear your side of the story too. So in any event, thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of what we do, and we'll catch you guys on the next video.